Hello, I am Ellie Smith, and this is my college reflection. I am graduating in May of 2023. Um, I major in general marketing and I'm minoring in international business and digital marketing. I have 5 goals. Each are supposed to represent a discipline I have learned in the Walker College of Business at App State. The first goal is students will think analytically to successfully solve problems. So I chose my sales management simulation, and I have an Excel document and a reflection document that describe my time with this. We spent 8 weeks on it. We were split up into 6 teams. Each team had 4 members, and every 2 weeks, one of the members would be a captain. And the captain was able to review all of our options for the simulation and decide whether or not that we're going to stick with them, if we're going to change anything. They didn't technically have to agree with anything that anyone said, but our team, we made sure that everyone was on the same page before we submitted anything. And this simulation was based on us being managers and managing employees that were in sales. And it was on selling bicycles. We had 2 products that we were selling, and we were in an industry with 5 other companies. And we competed against industry commission rates, how much wage we had, how many employees we had. So we had the ability to have unlimited hiring power. There was no limit to how many employees we could have, and there was no limit to the minimum amount of employees that we could have. And each employee, we could have a reason for hiring or firing them. So if they had a really good resume and they had some good people skills, communication skills, we would hire them. If they were performing not great, we could fire them. And we tended to hire people that were also in the regions that we wanted them to be in, especially if they were in a small market that wasn't tapped yet, we would hire them from that. So in addition, we were able to control the commission rate. We didn't have to use a commission rate, but because everyone else in the industry was using a commission rate, we felt the need to do that as well. It kept our employees happy and satisfied, and they were less likely to leave us for another company. We also were able to see what other people or guess what other people had their salaries at. We tried to keep it fair. People that were with us longer, they had a pay raise. People that were not with us longer, we tried to match them to what they expected, but also not higher than the people than we had. And you can see this is our first quarter's statistics that we had. So our total income was negative 389,000. It was about, I think it was 50,000 for every employee that we retrained, which we spent a lot of time retraining the employees that we had. So then we were missing out on profit because we didn't have any employees. And we really wanted to have our employees be the best that they could be. So we were trying to enhance our customer service to those buying our products, and that actually helped us sell more products in the end. But our initial market share was very low. And then in our last quarter, we had 127 million in profits, and our market share ended in 22.17%. So we were the first in market share and profit. And we did this from one raising our prices, and we could have done this by lowering our costs, but because we were already paying our employees so much, we felt that if we had then lowered what we were paying them, then they would want to leave and they would be less motivated to work. So we were already set at the price that we were. We weren't going to lower that. So we had to increase our price of our products to be able to make more money, especially because it was last quarter and a lot of people were trying to go all out for this. So we felt that we needed to come above everyone else, that we weren't going to lose market share from this. We spent a lot of time thinking over how we were going to strategize this. And then my second goal, students will communicate effectively in writing and speech. So for this, I chose a document. I wrote all about the marketing distribution tactics at Estee Lauder, and I chose this because I'm very passionate about marketing. I love strategizing and trying to find all components of a business that somehow fit together. And in my class, we had talked about omni-channel strategy. That was like our final thing. And I wanted to talk about a company that had a fairly good solidified omni-channel strategy. And this one's particularly interesting because Estee Lauder is in a lot of department stores, and department stores are not doing well right now. But they're trying to enter into new markets. They are trying to enter into Asia at the moment, specifically China. And China has a huge cosmetics industry. It's very competitive. But they're trying to get in through doing KOL marketing and increasing their retail outlets, as well as having retail outlets that are a little bit more innovative and modern. But Estee Lauder, she started out, she couldn't even get into a department store. And the way that she got in was through spilling her perfume in the department store. And then customers walked by and they were like, oh my God, that smells so good. And she ended up talking to the department store owners and they were like, oh, I guess we'll sell it. And she made a lot of money that first year from that perfume, and that helped her expand to other markets. And then they were able to have acquisitions and have on brands underneath them, so they could sell to other markets. And specifically for Estee Lauder, I think it's really important for them currently to focus on some new technology for their brands. So for instance, I know L'Oreal, one of their biggest competitors, has this magic mirror, and magic mirror lets you try on any of the makeup in the store. It also is just so informative because it can tell you exactly what brand you're using, what color. It puts it on very nicely in the mirror. So some people that cannot or do not have enough practice with putting on makeup, they may be worried when they show up to a store and they try to put on makeup and they're like, it doesn't look that good. The mirrors kind of put a filter over that and kind of just make everything look so good. It's definitely a really great advancement for the cosmetic industry. So they focused a lot in the beginning about their distribution strategy. They try to put their products in their own individual boutiques, in department stores. Occasionally they would show up in Ulta, but originally they were never in Ulta. They were only in department stores because department stores had more of that elegance and grace and status associated with it. Now, not so much. It's kind of more so your own store to have that ability to have personalization and customization of products is what consumers really want. And they have been hopping on the trend of sustainability. Maybe not trend so much, but they've been really focusing on not polluting, making sure that their products are of quality. And they're encouraging other businesses to do the same. My third goal, students will understand ethical issues and responsibility to society. This was based off a project that I did in my integrated marketing communications course. And we chose the business Blue Deer. Blue Deer was originally started by some post-grad students. And they started out in a camper on 105, and they sold ice cream sandwiches. So you got cookies and some ice cream, and they sourced from a local creamery. Um, and we really wanted to focus on, okay, so what was the industry that we were getting into? Um, how did we want them to grow? How can they grow? Um, and really, this was good practice for us because if we're working with any other business in our community, we kind of have some practice to go along with it. We were able to have a plan to help them build their market share and provide some digital guidance. And some of that digital guidance in our plan can help be used for other businesses. In my fourth goal, students will possess functional business knowledge and technological skills. And for this one, I did the Spice and Tea Exchange. We have one in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. It is really popular in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. It was #2 in the year for sales last year. It's a high tourist town. You get lots of people coming in for the beautiful weather, the snow, the skiing, hiking. It's a cute, like kind of hallmarky town. So I chose that for my project, and I was focusing on their digital presence. So I looked through their website, blog, social media, and in this project, we had to do many different things. And one of the things was build a buyer's persona, which I've never done before. And I had done this by going to the store numerous times, doing some research about people that cook, people that drink tea, what's the market for tea. And I came up with this Sophie Stephenson. She's 36, Director of Quality Assurance for Dunder Mifflin. She is a BSBA at University of Washington. She's married. Joys cooking, trying out holistic health practices, wants unique and interesting finds that can't be found anywhere else, uses cooking and tea for distress, always looking for gifts for family and friends. Which, if you've ever been to a Spice and Tea Exchange, all their stuff is great for gifts. And they started this new health brand where you can get this mushroom tea, and they have a balancing belly tea, and they have lots of organic products that you can steep and just have distress, detox, anti-inflammatory, good antioxidants in them. It's just a great store. The other thing I learned from this was using some graphic design applications such as Canva and Adobe. And I was able to make some faux posts for them. And the point of my post is that I really want to come across is that they could do some things that are a little bit playful. They're starting to have a newer, younger market. I know right now they're in the millennials, but eventually it's going to be Gen Z, and we have a ridiculous sense of humor. And they're also trying to develop their tea bar that they have right now. Not all stores have a tea bar, but they're trying to make it bigger, try to get more people to drink tea and just buy into that whole iced market and drink market. Also, I really think that they should focus on posting more recipes to their Instagram, especially for like one of their best spice sellers that they have, which is Tuscany. Well, in Blowing Rock, it's Tuscany. But just having that recipes out for people that's easy access and on all points of their digital presence, I think would help solidify that omni-channel, for just having recipes everywhere. If people go to Pinterest, it's there. If it's on their Instagram, it's there. Their website, it's there. Several recipes, even have their consumers post recipes of their own that they could then tag to the website would be really good or valuable, be really valuable. And then my last goal was students will have knowledge about the global environment of business. So for this, I chose my study abroad in Florence, Italy. I studied there for 8 weeks, and we started out in Turin, which is northern Italy. I was able to travel to Venice, Rome, Cinque Terre, I traveled to some other places too. I can't remember at the moment, but um, there's so much culture here, and every place you go to is very different, but they all have one central thing, and that's their wine. And this is one of the classes I took. It's the wine marketing of Italy. And I studied um, in Pollenza, which is in Turin, is a very, very small town. Like it felt like 20 people lived there. It was very small, beautiful, but small. And we studied at the University of Gastronomy. And if you've seen on Stanley Tucci in Italy, he goes to the University of Gastronomy. And their whole thing is that they're trying to bring back slow food, which is putting time and effort to sourcing quality food and making dishes of diversity. So not sticking to your culture, but um, sometimes going back to the basics or being able to have these fusion foods that are different and unique, providing more variety into what we eat is what they're focusing on. And we went through a whole series of uh, seeing what sommeliers go through, where they have to taste wine and learn to see, like, is it astringent? Is it bitter? Sweet, salty? Is there hints of cherry in it? Which you cannot do in just 3 days. We were not able to do that, but we kind of saw the process of what it's like to be certified in talking about wine, especially because customer service with wine is really important, being able to describe how wine tastes, especially if you don't want to uncork a bottle of wine and have it oxidize and then goes bad just a couple days later. We also learned about um, how important it is to have organic wine in Italy. So they have 4 different levels of organic wine, and the best being DOCG. And that is basically wine that has been untouched by pesticides or fertilizer of that's been processed. It's very, very organic, very untouched, very natural. And those wines, you can usually tell if it is accurate. When you get the wine, it will have an oniony smell to it. And then once it oxidizes, it will smell a little bit fresher. We also learned that for wine businesses, there's a huge tariff for sending bottles of wine from Italy to the US. That's why in the US they're priced so highly. And uh, that is just one of the barriers that a lot of wineries have to deal with. So a lot of them will not send their wines out. Um, we also studied in the cellar here. Well, we did study in there, but we got to see they have a huge database collection of thousands of bottles of wine, all from their region of Italy, the Piedmont region. And the cellar was right there. We walked down and under. It was very cold. It was huge. Um, but we just learned a lot about how wine is more a part of the culture. So selling certain items, actually selling any items in Italy, you really had to make sure it was of quality. A lot of people made their products with a lot of care and a lot of detail that selling something that could be made for $2 would be considered an insult there. And this was my 5 goals. I would like to thank some teachers that helped me throughout the way, Dr. William Northington, Dr. James Files. Both of y'all were very helpful. And if y'all see this, yay. But yeah, thanks for watching.